I have a terrible singing voice, but it is NBA trade deadline week, and the Kings getting in on the action this afternoon. Okay, let's settle down. They came up with a deal with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
For a forward.
Which forward?
Kessler Edwards to Sacramento Kings. Hey, it's Deuce Mason. It's Morgan Reagan. We are live with Little Kings Roundtable, hanging out with Chris Watkins and Frankie Cartoscelli, who cover the Kings for Sactown Sports. They will be in Salt Lake City for the All-Star game coming up. Our All-Stars.
Next week.
Been in the league a couple years, took some time.
You deserve it.
Development. Yeah, we finally made it.
Yeah, we made it.
Feels good.
Are you playing in the celebrity game? We'll find
We were wondering what random person is going to be there this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what random person.
There's always
Anjali was in it last year.
Will 50 Cent be playing in it?
That's true.
Wasn't he courtside last night rooting for the Rockets?
He was. He has the same little deal with his alcohol company in Houston. With that team too.
I thought he thought maybe Alex Len was on the Houston Rockets.
Alex Len scored 30 points last night. Didn't you guys see?
Oh,
yeah, he went crazy.
Well, let's talk about the deal that has been reported right now. It's not some major earth-shattering move by the Sacramento Kings, but trying to put the pieces together about what does this mean. Apparently, the Kings have an agreement with the Brooklyn Nets to acquire 6'8" forward Kessler Edwards. He's a second-year guy from the Brooklyn Nets. Not playing a lot this year. Played more last year. In fact, got over 20 starts with Brooklyn. What are they giving up? At this time, it doesn't seem like they're giving up anything. They had a trade exemption from the Tyrese Halliburton trade. I believe it was the Halliburton trade. They had that one.
Might have been Bagley.
I think it was the Bagley.
Okay,
trade,
they had multiple ones. So maybe it's
there's
the
like
Bagley
a $4
one.
million one, and I think there's like a 1.5.
Either way, there's a trade exemption that they could just take on Kessler Edwards' deal, and the Nets also send over cash in the deal. So it's a free look at a young guy. The Kings could have an open roster spot once Deonte Burton's 10-day comes up, so he'll go into that. But Woj is also saying that Kessler Edwards, who had to approve the deal because of his bird rights situation, he's going to approve the deal. Kings intend to give Edwards an opportunity to play in Stockton in the NBA G League. But with 2 days to go until the trade deadline, his future will remain fluid. And I think there could be some potential, especially with his contract situation, that the Kings could waive him if they need to take something else on. They could maybe buy him out and get an open roster spot for the buyout market. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think for them, it's a good opportunity to take a look at a guy who's a 3-and-D guy, who's got good length, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
It doesn't cost anything. I mean, it's kind of an under-the-radar move for sure. It's a depth move. I mean, the Kings need more lengthy guys, and he is a forward. I think he's a 7-foot wingspan. Never mad about that. Young. He's raw. I mean, he hasn't played much this year. I mean, I think last year he had a good, decent shot for a little moment of time there, but last night was the first game he'd played in a while. I think over a month and a half, 2 months. So it's a move. I think that Stockton, you guys will have a pretty close look at that, and we'll have to keep an eye on it as well. But it does give the Kings some flexibility. I mean, the money, it's not much. I mean, we have to see how much Brooklyn gave back. But I wonder if it's that trade exception.
Wait, what did you say his wingspan was?
6'11", right?
Oh,
6'11", 7 foot.
Oh,
is it?
Yeah. For some reason, I thought I said 7'4" wingspan.
7'4".
And I'm like, wait, what?
Well, it's funny.
He really is KD.
He's growing on the way to Sacramento. All of a sudden, he's going to come here. It's like he's actually 7'7" wingspan.
This is the length we need in Sacramento.
Let's put that out there.
Yeah, the Nets actually did not measure it properly. The Kings measured it, and it was 7'11", and so it's just insane. He's just very, very long. Yeah, I'm interested in what it could lead to for the Kings. I mean, it doesn't really hurt anything. And for the Nets, you're going, what's their motivation? Why do they get rid of this guy when he doesn't make that much money? Because the luxury tax situation, it saves him apparently close to $8 million by making this move. So who knows what the Nets are going to do at this point. So the first one, I mean, what's a great comparison? This trade is kind of like throwing a pebble into a pond, right? It's not much.
It's like throwing a pebble into the ocean.
Yeah, not a pond.
Does it get your juices flowing, though?
No, but you know what?
A little bit.
I'll
say a little bit. Yeah, I'm
starting.
It's
you know what it is?
Kickoff to the season.
You just think it's a front office. They're just warming up.
Oh, yeah.
They're just throwing the ball around. Hey, catch that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards, whew. What else we got? They're getting
You
loose.
got to break the seal, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of really to get things going.
You got to make a shot before you do the real thing.
It's the amuse-bouche before the trade deadline.
Ooh, I like
I don't even know what
that.
that means.
It means it's like
so
it's the rich people thing that they eat to clear their palate before eating the dinner.
That sounds,
Chris?
yeah, it's very
Why didn't
smooth.
you just say
Is that
palate
right?
cleanser?
Yeah.
Well, because I don't think it's like the ginger that you get at the sushi
Yeah, it's
restaurants.
just something small, just like
Yeah.
this
Say it
is
one
just a
more
little
time, Chris.
taste of
What
what
is
you're
it?
gonna get.
Mouche bouche.
Wow.
Amuse bouche.
Moose
Oh,
bouche.
wow.
So,
Cultured.
so KE is the moose bouche of trades right now.
Is that on Basketball Reference already?
Yes,
Yeah,
actually, they
nickname,
have him
Boosh
as
Boosh.
moose bouche.
Update it.
We appreciate everyone joining us on the YouTube chat. If you have questions for this Kings Roundtable, drop in the chat, youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Also, we are 26 away from 300 thumbs up. Let's get to 300 thumbs up to help this channel grow so more and more people get exposed to all this awesome content. All right, well, trade deadline's coming up, and I feel like we've all been anticipating it. This first little minor move is here. Kessler Edwards to Sacramento. Is he going to even be on the team? Who the hell knows at this point? As we get closer, do you have a sense? Do you feel like there's going to be more from Sacramento, or what do you think? I know we're guessing at this point.
I mean, it's so unknown. Like the front office, this new regime with Monty McNair, they don't let much out. I mean, it's so much different than from what Vlade and that front office was doing. And that number one has me feeling a little encouraged, but also a move like today kind of makes, like we said, the juices get flowing, makes you kind of think. I mean, is it a pre-anticipatory move? Maybe something else is getting lined up. You see the rumors out there. Again, Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports today saying Mason Plumlee is, I think the Kings are the most mentioned team with Mason Plumlee. I think that I'm getting more on the side of I think something's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be anything like earth-shattering. I don't know if a Plumlee move gets the juices flowing even more for you, but I think the Kings could really benefit from a guy who his offensive rebounding is he's top 3 in the league. I mean, he's someone who can shoot well around the rim. That's something that could help the Kings out. But I think that as more time goes by and little deals like this happen, it makes you think that it's, the tremors before the big earthquake. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like where there's smoke, there's fire. And for sure, there's still the possibility, like you said, that I think nothing does get done. But with this move happening, it does kind of feel like I said, you're not going to, is this really the only move that they're going to make? I doubt it.
Well, and that's what I keep talking about this with Deuce. I go, with past regimes, you are not even seeing these tweaks. You are not seeing these little things be made. And I think there was probably not a lot of knowledge there at the position of GM. And I'm trying to put this in a nice way.
Vlade stays getting strays every time.
You know what I mean, though? Like, I think to make these tweaks are very important at times, and to show movement is very important. And for so long in Sacramento, we weren't seeing these things being done. And that's why even with Kessler Edwards, we're here in Sacramento having our first good winning season in such a long time that it gives me like this breath of fresh air, like the juice is flowing. It feels good that they're looking at even deep down the roster to make some moves.
Well, and I think, there are moves that Monty's made in the past. Like, I don't think a lot of people around the NBA or in Sacramento are going, man, that Terrence Davis trade was awesome. Like, but you take a look at it, it wasn't a bad risk. You take a look at a guy, go, does he have something? I don't even know if it's going to go that deep with someone like Kessler Edwards, but you look at this Kings team, and every time we talk about them getting hammered by a team or something bad happens, you go, man, the other team's got length, they got size. When you look at someone like Kessler Edwards, even if he's not part of the future of what you're doing, he's 6'8", 6'11" wingspan. He is long. He's played some NBA minutes on a good team. He's young. You take a look at that guy. If a team is like, hey, we're trying to save money, here, we'll send you him in cash. You could figure out what you want to do with him, play him in the G League, whatever you got to do. We can't really use him at this point. Take a look at him, because you just don't know what it turns into. Those are the type of moves, the fringe moves, that I think can be impactful. It's a low-risk move. Does it move the needle for this year? Is Kessler Edwards going to play playoff minutes? No, not at all. But I think that this is fine. If this ends up being the only move, I could see why fans would be like, that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, again, it kind of makes you wonder about what they're going to do with some of these spots. I mean, Burton, like we talked about, 10-day deal. I think he's getting near the middle of it. Then you have Casey Okpala. Where does he fit in this? Because you have another guy who kind of fits a similar mold here with it. I mean, I'm just wondering what comes of these spots. And these are answers we're probably going to get in the next, 24 to 48 hours. But today, it's the fun part of it. It makes you think. It makes you look forward to what's next.
Do you think Kessler Edwards has been talked about this much at all in the last 2 years?
No.
Ever?
The Kings effect.
Yeah, the Kings effect. We're talking about Kessler Edwards coming to the Kings.
Yeah, you guys.
What a swing.
I was watching so many of his highlights as soon as the information came out because I was like, oh, I don't know much about this guy. You know, I want to see what else he can do. I got excited about his body size, his wingspan, just like the length that he shows out there. And obviously they're highlights. So you're going to see all the best possessions. But even on the defensive end, the way that he was staying in front of guys and then contesting shots with his verticality, it was, you talk about someone like KZ Okpala, and this is also a guy that you obviously he's not showing a lot of offense this season with the amount of time that he's playing with the Nets. But last season, you know, he showed a little bit more promise. One of the games, the highlights I was watching right before you guys came in was like a 17-point game. You know, it's just like, oh, okay, that's where those tweaks are made down the roster, where Mike Brown can go to, again, I'm just saying in general, can go to a guy that he can trust more and more coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, you guys mentioning the KZ Okpala comparison is really, really interesting to me because I wonder if this, you know, if Kessler is going to get any minutes, if those come at the expense of a KZ. Like, does KZ really have a spot on this roster? Is that kind of crazy to say?
I mean, he's an expiring contract anyway, right? So who knows what can happen after the trade deadline? Maybe he's thrown into a trade. Right. I mean, KZ has now been playing some games with Stockton. He's getting some G League run. And, you know, I've talked to people around the team just about KZ in the past, and who knows what the thinking is in the last couple of weeks, but they go, he's young. Like, people forget he's like 22, 23 years old. He's super raw, and they just like the tools he does have. And they're like, he's low risk. Like, we like having him. But you're right. I mean, I don't know in terms of roster spots. I think it's going to be a fluid situation for the Kings. You know, I mean, you're not going to, for example, hold on to Kessler Edwards in that final roster spot if you have a chance to add an impactful player now. I mean, I still maintain that I think the Kings, if they don't fill it via trade, they should be active looking at the buyout market. Is there a player out there that can help this team this year to try to make a more significant run in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, you see it last night against Houston, who, I mean, the offense woke up and they played well right on the offense. And like, the offensive end was fine. Right. The defense continues to be an issue. You let the Rockets pour up 120 points last night. So they need help. And going after guys that play defense, I mean, that's great. It's just like, how many roster spots are we talking here as far as guys that are, you know, they're cheap and they're raw, but they have upside on the defensive end. They need guys that can do both and do both at a high level.